Well, good afternoon, Conway Junior High. Hello. This is White coming to you live from the White House, and I am going to post our first AMI lesson. So let me talk a little bit about AMI. I have a little fireside chat with you. I'm sipping on my chamomile tea. Okay, AMI. So alternative method of instruction, and what I want to do with these is I want to make sure that they are short and accessible because I can't recreate what I want to be doing, which is singing with you. So because I can't do that, we are going to do things like worksheets, and we are going to do some singing, some solfege, maybe sight reading, and some rhythm. Easy things that you can do and maybe upload a short video into Classroom. So let me talk a little bit about the process. Each day, or maybe a couple of times a day, I'm going to get something uploaded. I just need to have 5 things for you to do while we are out of instruction this week. So you have the entire week to complete them if you have online access. If you don't have online access, or you're just a procrastinator and you would rather just wait, that's fine. But please know that all of your AMI lessons are due after 5 days after we get back to school. So that means 5 lessons for me and 5 lessons for your other classes that you have. So please don't procrastinate. They are supposed to be lessons that you can do fairly quickly. So get it done. Just get it done. Don't just sit and waste this time. Get all of this off your plate so that you're not stressed when we finally get back, because we're all going to be playing catch up when we finally get back. Okay. So here's how things are going to work. I'm going to make a video of myself talking about the lesson plan, and then I'll always have an accompanying explanation, and then a couple of questions for you to answer. So we're going to start this week with key signatures. I'm going to spend some time today talking about flat key signatures, and then I'll probably talk about sharp key signatures tomorrow. So I'm going to encourage you to have Classroom open and have this document open in AMI. It says AMI Lesson 1. So go ahead and get it open. Make sure that you've got that so that you can follow along while I'm talking about it. And if you have questions at any point while you're completing any of these assignments, just post it in Classroom, email me. I'll try to be as available as possible so that I can help you through this. And yeah, we'll just take this one day at a time. There you go. All right, so here we go. Introduction to flat key signatures. If you can follow along, I've broken it down into 4 pretty accessible steps. So number 1, remember your lines and spaces for the staff. If you will remember, I'm going to put my tea down. We talk a lot about the 5 lines and the 4 spaces of the staff. And I always start at the bottom for the 5 lines. And for the treble clef, it's the one that you've learned since you were in elementary school. Every good boy does fine. Those are your 5 lines for the treble clef, okay? And then in between that, shout out to Sophia Feltman, who first taught me this. If it's in the space, it spells face. F-A-C-E. It's important that you know these lines and spaces letter names, because that's going to be the last thing we need to know when we are doing key signatures. So treble clef, I'm going to remind you again, and that's also on that worksheet if you'll just make sure you've got it pulled up. Every good boy does fine. Letter name E, G, B, D, F. And then in the spaces, F, A, C, E. That's exactly what it would be like if I had an actual drawing of 5 lines and 4 spaces in a treble staff. I've also put the one for the bass clef down there, and you do also need to know that. You can remember any of these in a variety of ways. The one that I learned when I was growing up was good boys do fine always, but I also like good burritos don't fall apart, although Alasia says good burritos do fall apart, regardless. And then in the spaces, it's all cars eat gas, or all cows eat grass, whatever you want to use to remember. Okay? That's the first thing, is you need to remember your lines and spaces for the staff. Okay? Number 2, and this one is important, but you don't actually have to know this information to just look at a key signature and tell the key signature. But I'm going to introduce this to you anyway and just tuck it back there for a piece of information later on. Number 2, remember the order of flats. The order of flats are written in a very specific order, left to right. We start with the letter B, and then we follow in a zigzag pattern. I don't care what staff you're on, and I don't care what planet you're on. All musicians follow this rule when they are writing their flat key signatures. You start with the letter B, and then you zigzag up E, A, D, G, C, F. And so it follows this zigzag pattern, and it uses the letters in this form: B, E, A, D, G, C, F. And a lot of students, to help them remember this, remember that it says one word, the word bead, as in, that is a super awesome gnarly bead necklace that you just made me. And then GCF, greatest common factor. Yay, math, shout out. Okay, so you can either remember all 7 letters and come up with some super awesome whatever, or just remember the letters. Bead, greatest common factor, okay? That's an important piece of information. It's not the most important piece of information for you to know how to tell your key signatures, but it will be helpful to you as we move forward. All right, so number 1, remember your lines and spaces for the staff. Number 2, remember the order of flats. Bead, greatest common factor. Number 3, how do I find the name? Let's say that I'm looking at a piece of music and there are a bunch of sharps or a bunch of flats at the beginning, and I'm just trying to find do. I'm just living my best life trying to find do. How do I figure this out? Okay, pretty simple rules. The very first one is, remember, the last flat, the one furthest to the right, the one that was written the last, is the solfege syllable fa. Always and forever, amen. Okay, so the last one that is written to the furthest to the right, the last one we wrote, is always the solfege syllable fa. And then it's just a matter of you counting down the staff. Fa, next spacer line down, mi, next spacer line down, re, last spacer line down, do. Okay, that's it. And once you land on do, you're there. That's the answer. Okay, so first rule, if you want to use this one, the last flat is always fa. Second rule, and this one is actually the easiest one because it's the answer. The second to last flat is do. So, oh, I know I got really excited when I watched myself do that, but I need you to understand how simple it is for you to tell key signatures. The second to last flat is the answer. So as you're reading your flats left to right, once you get to the second to last one, stop. That's the answer. All you need is to circle that one, figure out what its letter name is, and then you're done. Like, buzz up. This is it, y'all. Music is not some secret that we try to keep from you that you can't ever figure out. You can figure this out. You just need me to point you in the right direction. So, reading flat key signatures. I'm reading. I get to the second to last flat. I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to circle that either mentally or with my actual pencil. And I'm going to stay there because that's the answer of the key signature. That's the name. That's where do is. The second to last flat is do. So now I just need to figure out what its letter name is. So all I have to do now is go back to, I remember what my lines and spaces are, what my letter names for my lines and spaces are. So I'm going to change that flat that's in the do spot, whether it's a space or a line. I'm going to change it to its letter. So if do happens to be on the B line, then I'm in the key of B flat. If I'm reading through my flats and I get to the second to last flat and do happens to be in the A space, then I'm in the key of A flat. If I'm reading through and I get to the second to last flat and that second to last flat happens to be in the E space or line, then that's the key of E flat. It is very simple. The second to last flat is do. Change that to its letter name, and that's the answer for the key signature. All right? Now, I put one more thing under there because this is where things get just a little dicey when you're giving the official name. Every flat key signature includes the flat as part of its name. All right? So it's not just the key of B, it's the key of B flat. It's not just the key of A, it's the key of A flat, all right? There's only one teeny tiny exception, and it's the key of F, because there isn't a flat on the F line or space, okay? So it's just the key of F. but every other flat key signature is going to have flat in its name. Okay? So, pretty simple. What you would do at this point, if you haven't filled out your form yet, is you would scroll down. There are 6 questions for you to answer today, and only one of them asks you to put all of this information together to give me the actual key signature name. All right? The others are just kind of stepwise so that you can fill this stuff out. So, this is not meant to be a ton of brand new information. It's also not meant to be very taxing. It's just meant as an introductory lesson on flat key signatures. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to not text me, y'all don't have my number. Do not hesitate to message me, email me. I will be super available this whole week so that in case you have any questions, you can get those asked and answered. All right, I'm excited to try this out with y'all. Let's see how this works. Bye.